I tak, Twitch, TV, Techland.
Ktoś już na czat wrzucił, jak chcesz szybki link.
Spoko, spoko. Jestem przygotowany. O, jest, że narkotyki będą alkohol.
Ale gdzie?
W grze niestety.
Aha.
Okej, bardzo ładnie jest to nowość, podtytuł Zostań człowiekiem, bardzo mi się to podoba.
Hello guys, nice to meet you. I'm Leah and this is Dying to Know. If you're dying to know what's going on in the world of Dying Light 2, then you're in the right place. Here we'll be showing you all the news, the latest from the Dying Light world. We'll be announcing a few contests, we'll be talking to developers, and probably most importantly, we're going to be showing you a brand new gameplay trailer where you can see the current state of the Dying Light 2 game. But first, there's someone here I need to introduce you to. It's Aidan Caldwell.
Aidan, jest nawiązanie do japońskiej kultury, tak samo jak w tej innej polskiej grze, gdzie był też samuraj. O.
Hello guys, my name is Jonas Scott and I voice Aidan Caldwell in Dying Light 2. But before that, I'm going to host this program with Leia, if you don't mind.
My pleasure. Well, I'm ready. Jonah's definitely ready. And I hope you're ready.
So if you're dying to know, just like us, then stick with us.
Bardzo ładna
The
seria.
story told in Dying Light 2 occurs 20 years after the events of the first game. And if you're wondering what happened in those intervening 20 years, well, there's no better person to ask than the Dying Light 2 world director, Thomas Gabau, with who I'll be talking in just a moment.
Ciekawe, żadnych Polaków nie ma. Jest polskie nazwisko.
So about the characters that appear in Dying Light 2.
Że babę głośniej, że wam daję, przepraszam. Witam, jesteście na Discordzie, czy was zepsuło coś?
Thomas, so
Okay.
the first question I
Jesteśmy,
have for you
jesteśmy,
today
oglądamy.
is,
Bo
do I
jesteśmy
need to
tak
have played
zachwyceni
Dying
tą
Light 1 to
prezentacją.
understand what's
Dlatego
happening in
myślę-
Dying Light
Okej, nie, jasne, przepraszam.
No, actually, you don't. Like you mentioned before, our game takes place some 20 years later, in a world where humankind has lost the war to the virus. So,
Right.
in a way, you could say that Dying
Bardzo
Light
mi się
2
podoba, że
takes the world
poukrywali
beyond the
Polaków.
apocalypse.
To jest super.
Intriguing. All right, tell me more, please.
Well, you remember the events of Heron in
Dobry
2014.
Ale to
After
tło
that,
tam
well,
to
leaders
wygląda jak
had
Polska
a
w
tough
sumie,
choice to
jakby się
make.
tak
Właśnie
Had to
pewnie
isolate the city of Heron.
dobre pytanie, które
That they
miejsce.
created an exclusion zone. Like in Chernobyl, only a lot more people were left to die
O,
inside the walls.
nawiązanie do
Yeah, right, so
Czarnobylu
they
jest.
just isolated the entire city. And did it help? Did it stop the
Do
virus?
gry Playwaya?
Yeah, for a while it worked. Enough for everyone to forget about it, at least. Only in secret, a handful of scientists continued to study the virus. You know, manipulating its DNA, creating new strains. They were looking for commercial military applications. So, you know, they're doing it for the money, really.
Yeah, of course. So what happened next?
Well, next, the shit hit the fan.
O, jest
By
słowo.
Christmas
Shit
2021,
hit the
one
fan,
of
to
these
zrozumiem.
mutated strain escaped from a level 4 laboratory located near Geneva. We don't really know if this was accidental or not, but this time the virus was much faster than any government. Before the world could react, civilization was on the brink of collapse. People were dying in the streets, capital cities
Bardzo
were
mi się
burning.
podoba, że nie sabotują sobie rynku chińskiego, że nie nawiązują to z Chin uciekł wirus, tylko z Genewy.
There was a few settlements remaining, but only
serio?
one
Może
city
być
was still
niezadowolona.
standing. The last bastion of
I mało
mankind,
jest to.
or city,
Mało.
Villador, aka the city.
Right,
Wszyscy
so
uzbrojeni.
Villador is what we have left. So that's everything that's happened outside of the city. What actually happens inside Villador?
Well, the city has unique rules. First of all, it's surrounded by seemingly impassable walls. And inside the walls, the people that decided to use a radical new weapon against the infection, which actually gave them the upper hand in the first stages of the pandemic.
Czy mieliście okazję oglądać film World War Z? Tam była bardzo fajna koncepcja odnośnie muru wokół miasta, że właśnie że Żydzi wiedzieli pierwsi, dlatego zbudowali mur. To było takie, bardzo mi się podobało nawiązanie do trendów geopolitycznych.
Great.
był jeden polityk, co bardzo
that
lubi
is
mury.
extremely
Tak, z
interesting.
panem
Thank you
Bradem
very
Pittem
much,
to był
Thomas.
film.
And we'll be hearing more about the vibrant and fantastic city soon, I
Ale
hope.
to jakaś
But first,
sugestia,
I
że
think
coś
we need
jeszcze
to hear a
wiedzą?
little bit more about the
Zobaczymy właśnie,
characters.
impreza dopiero się zaczyna, jak rozumiem. Jest pan Szymanek. Ciekawe, jak będą wymawiać.
Our second guest is a man of two industries, cinema and
Oni się
gaming.
też
In a
chyba
previous
pierwsi
life,
wyszczepili,
he wrote the hit
przypadek?
HBO
Oh.
series Wataha?
Wataha, yeah.
Wataha.
Pierwsi się
And then he moved on to
wyszczepili, bo
Techland
najwięcej
to become a
zapłacili.
narrative director. Piotr Jemenek.
Hi guys.
Thank you.
Rzymanek jest
So,
teraz.
we have plenty of time to talk about the rest of the characters in Dying Light 2. There are tons of them. But today, I think we want to focus on Aiden Caldwell, the protagonist. You want to talk more about him? Or?
Yeah, sure. So, Aiden, he's the member of Outcasts, you know, the group of people traveling through this dangerous world of Dying Light 2 called Pilgrims, because he's looking for his relative, the person whom he lost many, many years ago, and that person is his only memory from the past, and the only answer to whom Aiden really is.
Aiden is a really rich, deep character, very much cooler than I am.
Oh, no, come on.
I mean, he can run across buildings, jump from rooftop to rooftop, use all kinds of weapons.
Yeah, well, you know, he didn't have much choice. This world is full of infected, bloodthirsty creatures, so he didn't have much choice, right? The weak die, the strong survive, and Aiden, he just has to be strong. But why did he come like that? Why him? That's the main question of the game, and the player will have opportunity also to decide how Aiden will evolve. Will he help the weak? Will it distract him from his main goal? Or maybe he will just strive to the end of his search as soon as possible.
I can't imagine trying to survive or live in a city like that as a lone wolf by yourself without any kind of support.
Well, he's not gonna be alone, you know. He will meet many people. But again, depending on the player choices, some of them will become his allies, but some of them will become his enemies. One of the group he will encounter are the Night Runners, the former special force officers who were sick of the army's cynicism and lack of concern for common people. But they were brave enough to help the people during the night. And the night, as you know, is pretty horrifying in the game.
Tak, w życiu.
Yeah,
No
so
to,
Aiden joins the Night Runners?
Oh, that's the question, my friend. The player will have to answer too. I won't spoil the pleasure of discovering Aiden's actions and true motivations, but what I can share with you is the fact that we really put big effort to make this character and many others complex and multidimensional. But there is so much more to be discovered during the game.
Oh, it's fascinating. Can't wait to learn more. Thank you so much, Piotr.
Thank you, thank you.
proszę, nie mówi Piotr, tylko nie mówi Peter, tylko Piotr.
So before we watch the gameplay trailer of Dying Light 2 for the first time, we need to talk about something which is basically at the center of the Dying Light universe, which is
the community. Over the past few years, Dying Light has amassed over 23 million players and a 95% positive review rating on Steam.
Which in Steam Talk is overwhelmingly positive, so bravo.
Yeah, we'd like to take a few seconds and thank you guys.
Thank you all for being on this journey with us. Thank you for sharing your love with others of Dying Light. And thank you for these great moments spent together.
Kurde, jakąś piosenkę
Dying
mogliby
Light 1
ułożyć,
has
ale...
some amazingly creative sounds, which is
ma być teraz,
fantastic,
ma być pokaz gry za chwilę.
because we're going to be starting a brand new contest which will combine your love of Dying Light with that same creativity.
With the release date of Dying Light 2 drawing ever
Lepiej być nie
closer,
może.
we'd like to extend our hand and invite you to make the community a little bit bigger. If you find yourself skilled in the ways of visual arts, writing, or costumes and cosplay, please join the Dying Light universe.
So check out dyinglightgame.com/contest, and if you win, there's a fantastic monetary prize on the line. But also
Pieniądze
there's
są
some
jakieś.
other great rewards you could be in with a chance with winning as
Ciekawe, czy
well.
można...
Like a platinum edition of Dying Light. Look at this. This is the finest edition of Dying Light ever made. This is the platinum edition of Dying Light. This has every bit of content ever released for Dying Light in one place.
Wow.
It's massive. I mean, look at it.
For those of you who haven't experienced Dying Light yet, we are introducing Dying Light 1 Platinum Edition. It's the biggest and most complete edition to have ever existed.
And we're offering it to you now at an historically low price. All the content, lowest price.
It's literally no better time to buy than now, and you can get it on Steam, Xbox, and PlayStation.
nie ma
Get
na
your
Switcha.
Platinum Edition
Wow.
of Dying Light now. This is the best offer, like, ever. I guess we don't have time to go over everything that's in the Platinum Edition, but it is everything. This is how it looks.
To jest boomerska muzyka. Fajna. Dobra, teraz zrozumiałem, bo przecież na przykład ja w swojej edycji Dying Lighta nie mam tych dodatków ostatnich, zwłaszcza nadszedł z rewelacyjnym Hellride'em. No właśnie, bardzo dobra jest pytanie o tą cenę. Mi się wydaje, że to najlepsza cena, tak mówili.
Okay, so I'm excited because you guys are in just a second gonna see the official gameplay trailer for Dying Light 2. And then after that, we're gonna interview some of the devs that made it possible.
So, without further ado, here it is.
Hey everyone.
O,
We've been quiet for some time, since, like the rest of the world, we had some unforeseen hurdles to clear. But the wait is over. Let's dive into the open world of Dying Light 2. The last slice of Dying Light 2 showcased the mission from the main storyline.
You get after those fuckers.
You saw how your decisions influenced the narrative and notably changed the environment. This time, we want to give you a broader look at the game and a sneak peek at some of the things we'll be talking about in upcoming months.
latanie chyba było. Niesamowite.
In Dying Light 2, you become Aiden Caldwell, an outsider trying to unravel a tangled mystery from his past. Its trail leads him to the city, probably the last bastion of mankind in the world.
Ciekawe jest to za miasto, jakieś znane? No raczej tak, bo się nie robi Mast Zera teraz. No, w Dubaju, tak? Ale...
At first, you feel like this intense, brutal place will tear
A
your
to,
heart.
ale to nie miał
Then
być
you
ten
meet the Night Runners,
tam był
veteran
przypadkiem?
survivors who help
Nie,
people
coś...
in better
Dobre
days.
pytanie, ja nic nie wiem właśnie, może się rozstrzygnie.
By the way, I'm Hakon.
Bo coś mi się wydawało, że to właśnie miała być tu.
A,
Nie wiem, czy to nie w jednej wersji.
chyba jedynce, tak?
A myth.
And although it's not entirely clear you can
Niemcy,
trust
o!
them, you need allies in the dark.
Chce
I
się
jakieś pozostałości Paryża?
Paryż też byłby super w ruinie.
And these are the modern Dark Ages. It's been 15 years since the apocalypse and the world has changed. The old civilization has fallen, but
Czy
a
to jest
new one has been built on its ashes.
13 lat? Nie. Tak, 13 lat od dzisiaj.
People fight desperately
To
for
może
scarce
być Polska.
resources.
To kurde, taka realistyczny obraz.
Po Nowym Ładzie.
Dokładnie tak, jestem ciekaw.
Three factions struggle for position in the city.
Że Łódź to jest. Nie, wpisujcie miasta, jestem bardzo ciekaw, co to może być. Ten kościół
Ja
chce.
rozpoznaję dzielnicę
Bydgoszcz?
wygląda realistycznie.
Loyal soldiers who want to impose their version of law
Tak,
and order
Sosnowiec.
and trample all in their path.
A
Renegades,
po tych ludziach
ex-prisoners circle
uśmiechniętych.
their
Zbijesz,
ruthless colonel,
dziękuję
seeking
sobie.
to become sole rulers of the city.
Where is Wolves? Make him tell.
Use these factions to reach your goal.
Ten budynek, kurczę.
Help or harm them to reshape the city to your liking. Just remember, each faction contains complex characters.
Nosy Parker, ain't ya? Got some kind of bad habit of yours?
So, will you follow cold calculation or your heart?
The Bazaar needs good people. Help us and you'll find a home here.
Some in the city offer no chance for an alliance. Bandits, outlaws, and common thugs live only to plunder and kill, plunging the streets into chaos. Yet, nightfall scares all of them equally. Darkness changes the rules of the world. As the light fails, monsters crawl out of hiding to prey on the poor souls caught outside the safety of UV rays. Hordes
Wow,
of infected
promieniówka.
pour into the streets like decaying lava. The deadly spawn of 15 years of mutation and evolution. Your only escape? Exploit the city's verticality and flee to the roofs. Though even there, you are never safe from swift and deadly virals.
Tak jak są wertykalnością.
Z czym?
Jak w drugiej polskiej grze z wertykalnością. Czy otwarte będą te budynki i będzie się dało tam chodzić?
To są zawsze super pytania.
wszystkie będą rozwalone pewnie.
Ja miałem pomysł na własne uniwersum oparte o to, co się dzieje dzisiaj, żeby właśnie była też podobna przyszłość jak tutaj, tylko że są 3 frakcje, że są ludzie, albo nawet 5, że są szczepieni właśnie, powstały na bazie tych, co się szczepili AstraZeneką, Pfizerem i tak dalej, że Pfizerem są normalni, tam ci, co są na przykład szczepieni Sputnikiem, to od razu są zombiami i tak dalej. Strasznie jestem ciekaw, to było fajne uniwersum. Kurde.
Musisz do Chrisa Avalona uderzyć, bo teraz
chciał coś napisać.
Luckily, you have all the tools you need to survive. Your extraordinary parkour skills allow you to navigate even the most treacherous terrain.
Tam Ominius mówi, że ewolucja to nabieranie zdolności w następnych pokoleniach. Ewolucja to jest... mi się wydaje, że faktycznie to słowo jest tutaj nadużywane bezsensownie. Bo to, co tutaj prawdopodobnie zaszło, to są jakieś dziwne mutacje, tak? Tylko one musiały być przekazywane... Bo teraz CRISPR trochę sprawia, że to jest mniej science fiction, to co tutaj się dzieje. Bo badania wykazały, że te zmiany, można wprowadzić zmiany, które będą przekazane do przyszłych pokoleń. Znaczy, ewolucja mutacji. Ewolucja to jest ogólnie definicja tego, że zachodzą zmiany w oparciu o to, czy organizm przeżyje, czy nie. Znaczy,
no właśnie, sorry, będzie, że przerywam, ale znak...
Jeszcze raz, przepraszam, co?
Takie uniwersum...
Tak.
Znak to jest takie uniwersum, w którym zombiaki by się jakoś tak realistycznie rozmnażały, żeby to było tak uzasadnione, że one pójdą tam na tak bardzo...
Właśnie też się na tym zastanawiałem, że cały czas populacja jest duża, tak?
Tak, to nawet nie chodzi o to, że one się tam rozkładają tak jak realistycznie by się rozkładały, żeby je muchy zjadały, tak? Tylko chodzi o to, że na przykład dajmy na to, że jest świat 100 lat po apokalipsie zombie. I że one w dalszym ciągu jakoś tam istnieją.
Fajne by było, gdyby już nie istniały, bo to było, wiesz, że wymarły po parunastu latach. No nie wiem, no taki temat podejmuje właśnie ta gra o motocyklach, tak? Tam to był ważny temat.
Mi się zdaje, że w Walking Dead było tak, że to się wszystko działo przez wirusa. Każdy człowiek był zarażony i to po prostu się odsuwało w czasie. Światem byłoby to, że wszyscy byli zarażeni.
Tak było w Walking Deadzie, tak. Tam, że zawsze jesteś zombie na końcu.
It's almost like Dying Light 2 is 2 different games put together into one.
Yeah, despite all the brutality going on in the ground floor, something about
twoje zasady, czy wprowadziłeś nas w roli takich ludzi, co mogą powiedzieć
but it does feel like every decision is
To może za
vital.
godzinę, dobra?
Choices and consequences are incredibly
teraz jest teraz, muszę sobie wyobrazić, że jesteście w świecie takich dużych streamerów, którzy są mili zawsze. O, to jest taki fajny świat, tak? A jak coś, to możemy sobie za 40 minut pogadać o wszystkim. O, pan Pizza, mamy przecież.
Welcome, and that gameplay looked awesome. I know we can't wait to get our hands on it, but
tak, teraz jest prawda. Całą dobę i z wyjątkiem godziny.
That was a research. We did a deep dive into the history of our world, and we found repetitive patterns. We found that people use the same behaviors in the past after the fall of civilization or after the fall of the nation that's supposed to be a backbone of our world. So our approach was super simple. We just copycat those behaviors and attitudes and show you how our world would look like after the fall. However, it's kind of obvious that the main reason that civilization fall is virus pandemic or eventually the economical collapse. Yeah, that's basically obvious thing. But it's even darker if you connect those things with the research we did at the beginning of the production. So people will question everything. They're gonna blame everything and everyone that's supposed to guide us in our lives every day. So they're gonna blame governments, they're gonna blame law, they're gonna blame science, or even religion.
Yes.
Some people might ask themselves that where was God when it happened to us, basically. You know? So I feel that all of those things together creates the sensation that it's a giant step backward for our civilization.
So Dying Light 2 has a subtitle, Stay Human. What does that mean?
Well, it's super hard to remember those values that makes us human, so like compassion or support. So the entire fall that those dark times we have is a big test for everyone. And I think it's even harder test because to stay human, people would sacrifice what's the most important for them or sometimes risk their lives.
Wow, so that's like really intense. And there's like the obvious like double meaning to it, which is what I was thinking. Stay human, don't become a zombie.
Yeah, but one disclaimer, those are not zombies. Those are infected people that turn to be a monster. They're just crossing a line, you know, and they're turning to be a monster, you know, because in Dying Light we all infected.
Actually,
we're all wearing this biomarker, you know it, and you're wearing this, I'm wearing this. That's a watch actually, but you know that, you know. So that's the thing. So the challenge is to not cross this line at all costs. So that's the biggest challenge of staying human in this meaning.
I see. Yeah, not zombies.
Not zombies.
Not zombies
at all.
People who've crossed the line.
Right, well, fascinating. Thank you so much, Adrian. We're definitely going to be hearing from you again soon.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Zombie nie są chyba znakiem towarowym zastrzeżonym. Chyba nie.
We have with us Katarzyna Tarnacka, the environmental art director.
Ty nauczyli się Katarzyny wymawiać.
And we have game designer Michał Duzak.
Hello. So, choices and consequences. The player has to make a choice, and they have to experience or endure the consequences. What does that mean?
Basically, the whole system of choices and consequences is really, really complex. I would say the best way to describe it is that the player is making the decisions based on 3 layers. First one are the choices that you do during the main story missions. And those big changes actually can change the whole game or even how the story ends. The second layer are choices that you do while the quests. And those choices can actually influence the mission itself. And the last one, the last layer, is so-called city alignment system. And I, as an open-world game designer, would like to focus on.
Please do, go on.
All right, so water and electricity are basically a key to survive in every world. By restoring it, player cannot not only unlock the water or electricity in the area, but he can also, based on his decision, assign it to one of the factions, which will influence how the district looks like or who's going to live inside of it. But it also, what is pretty more important for a player, unlock new tools for him, like unique tools for each factions, like car traps, zip lines, or a trampoline. That player can use in exploration to deal with bandits or infected, or simply to move faster through the city. So basically, based on your choices, you shape the game environment, which gives you a different experience every time you start a new game. And what is worth mentioning here that Dying Light 2 is playable up to 4 co-op players. So you can host the game or join other players and see how their choices came up differently to your own.
Żyjący, dynamiczny świat.
There's one thing I'm really curious about, though. Night versus day. How does the gameplay differ from the night and the day?
Well, the short answer is that day is for humans and night is for the monsters. But to describe it a little bit better, I would say that during the day, humans, factions, bandits, or survivors scavenging the city and searching for some scraps or someone who might have them. And this is the best time for a player to explore the city, meet its citizens, learn their stories, day-to-day agenda, or even simply help them in a quest or open-world activities to survive those dark ages.
Yeah, and that sounds quite pleasant, but I'm guessing night changes everything.
Exactly, exactly. During the night, all the infected get out of the buildings. And compared to the Dying Light 1, the night is going to be even more intense this time. Intense in terms of the amount of enemies, their new types, and new, more aggressive behaviors. And what is important, this time night can mean also opportunity. An opportunity for the players who are courage and skilled enough to use the fact that all the infected are outside and buildings are accessible to explore them and search for the most valuable loot in the game.
Katarzyna, you're responsible for the post-apocalyptic look of the city. Can you tell us a little bit how about the city became to look that way?
Yes. I guess the important thing to realize is in 2025, a decision was made to use a chemical attack to stop the spread of the Haran virus. And the result is a tight ring of chemically active areas around the city. Some of the chemicals have gotten into the groundwater and spread under the surface, killing every living plant and every living thing in its reach.
W sumie gdyby Ludwikiem skropili, nie, to by to zabiło wirusa. Jest taki konwencjonalny wirus, nie z powłoczką lipidową.
Unable to sustain any life, any plant.
No mówię właśnie Ludwik,
The
no.
street level is a domain of the monsters,
Domestosem,
decaying in every
Domestos byłby groźniejszy chyba,
So
nie?
it sounds like there's just no healthy
mi się
organic
wydaje.
life down there at all.
Ale
Not
co,
really.
że
The
wypić,
survival
czy
on
co?
the street level is pretty tough. So the common people are just visitors there. But the life prevailed. It moved up
Tak,
to the
odkażanie wewnętrzne.
and this is where the plants are
Nie wiesz, no.
flourishing and blooming
Jak
in
umrzesz, to
the
faktycznie wirus z tobą, nie?
post-apocalyptic landscape. And this
No
is
to jest
where
prawda, on
people
długo nie wytrzyma.
build and develop the new world of Dying Light 2.
Nie no, wirusy
Electricity
potrzebują
producing
żywiciela,
windmills and
inaczej nie
safe zones
przetrwają.
to the player.
To nie są
And
bakterie.
in a
Jak mi się
way,
nie
in a
podoba to
metaphorical sense,
personifikowanie wirusów, bo to jest tylko co? No, to jest kawałek kodu genetycznego, nie? Który się po prostu rozmnaża. I to nie sam nawet.
Tak, on musi wniknąć do komórki, bo inaczej...
Tak, więc ja jestem... To ocieplanie wizerunku wirusów jest niepotrzebne.
I can't imagine being a citizen living in that city, let alone being a player, and how challenging that's going to be.
Yeah, and hold that thought. Thank you very much for joining us today, but it's now time to introduce our next guest.
Wow, ale super impreza w ogóle.
With us now are Bartosz and Peter. And guys, I have one question about the open world in Dying Light 2. How big is it?
Oh,
It's pretty big.
okay.
We know that. Can you tell us a little bit more?
Yes, of course.
W basenach
The map in
piłkarskich,
Dying
tak?
Light 2 is
Baseny piłkarskie
divided
albo
into two huge
boiska.
regions and several zones. There are plenty leftovers from the lost civilization for you to scavenge. But we didn't want our players to perceive the map only horizontally, so we see the map as a multi-level 3D world that supports your traversal and helps you solve parkour puzzles.
Yes, in-house we call it multi-layer open world exploration.
Wow.
And you know, the movement system from Dying Light 1, we remove every restriction from the player. You can move everywhere you want, how you want to do it. And when I think about it, I think that was a big challenge for us to create the geometry that support all of that. And we did it, and I think we did it well. Doing the same thing in Dying Light 2 wasn't our goal. We want to make one or more step forward to surprise the player expectation. That's why we doubled the number of parkour moves.
Doubled, and I mean, it's not like there was a shortage in Dying Light 1, so what?
Yes, the iconic Dying Light 1 parkour is essential there. We improve it. We double the number of parkour moves. The players will see over 3,000 different parkour animations.
Wow.
From the basic move, to the tricks,
Szkoda, że nie
to
włączyłem
the
wow
small
metru.
little tasty details there that you can see it.
Okay, well, unfortunately, I'm gonna have to stop you there, but don't hate me because in the next episode, we're gonna be talking more about parkour and how the team have managed to make an authentic urban running experience in Dying Light 2.
Thank you guys so much for the information. Bartosz, Peter, it's been a pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. To jest jakiś pierwszy epizod?
Tak, tak.
Będzie więcej takich online'ów?
Okay, so the last and arguably the most important question I'm sure you have is when is the release date?
Yeah, that is a very, 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 very important question.
And luckily, we have the answer. And that answer is the 7th of December!
Ciekawe, czemu nie w Mikołaja, bo się...
And now that we know the release date of the game, it's time for you to go pre-order it. Go to dyinglight.com/preorder, select your platform, and then hit pre-order. And there you go. Congratulations. You just pre-ordered one of the most anticipated games of this year. Go you!
Ja zawsze się pytam, że właśnie najważniejsze jest zawsze preorderować, bo to jest to.
Oh, wow. I want one.
Well, I've got good news for you then, because this official figurine is part of the collector's edition of Dying Light 2. And you can get one for yourself if you want. We'd like a proper unboxing of the whole set to the professionals, but we do have it all in front of us right now, so it'd be rude not to take a look. You get, in the collector's edition, a concept art book full of stunning artwork from the game. You get this steelbook, which will have your game inside it, of course. And you get this interesting little sort of UV flashlight, so yeah.
Cool. It looks like there's all sorts of vanity elements in here too, like some legendary skin packs, as well as all sorts of digital elements. For more information on these digital elements, please visit the pre-order website. I want this. And I want Dying Light.
Kind of thought you'd say that. Well, if you're feeling the same way, then I've got good news, because you can pre-order the collector's edition.
Spójrzcie, to wydają na wszystkie platformy, na stare też, ekstra.
Rest assured there will be plenty of the standard edition for your standard gamer, but if you're into special editions, there is a deluxe edition of Dying Light 2 with a steelbook, a legendary pack, and a digital soundtrack, and much, much more.
So to summarize, that's 3 different editions that you can buy depending on what you're after. And if you just can't wait until release to get immersed in the world of Dying Light 2, then why don't you go check out the Techland Gamers and Goodies website for more info.
Yeah, this is a program for all gamers, whether or not you want updates on Dying Light 2 with the news, or you want Dying Light 2 items in Dying Light 1. Everyone's going to find something they like there.
Yep, and this is just an initial offering as well. Check back later for even more details, more information, and we'll be going through it in future episodes as well.
Mamy nowy serial. Szkoda, że to na Netflixie nie wychodzi, ale spoko.
That's it. Don't forget to pre-order the game and take part in our contests. The details are on the game's website.
And here's a sneak peek at the topic of the next episode. Thank you for watching and stay safe out there.
Znalazł prawie 1100 zł za kolekcjonerkę.
O,
bardzo uczciwa cena.
No, jak za darmo.
Tanie nie będzie.
To bardzo dobra.
Wow, ubranka są dla ludzi, tak? Nie, to są w grze. Kurczę. O, ten dźwięk, tę muzykę słyszycie? Kurde. Jeszcze można wybrać sobie okładkę, wow. O Ciemonka, pogadamy o tym, co zapytałeś później, dobra? A? Bardzo chętnie opowiem. Curtis się nie może doczekać następnego odcinka. Jezu, ja też mam nadzieję, że też zostanę zaproszony, by go prowadzić, bo strasznie się dobrze bawiłem.
Dzięki takiej prezentacji mogliśmy usłyszeć bardzo dużo cennych informacji na temat.
Tak, dziękuję wam wszystkim tutaj, że się podzieliliście z nami, że mieliście odwagę występować. Zobaczcie, czy nie pominęliśmy teraz z wrażenia kogoś. Moment. Czy ktoś tam się nie ukrył, ale dobrze się składa, że nie, świetnie. Na mszy świętej jest Huberto, Kruk i Sherman, a to jest konkurencyjna gra, czy nie konkurencyjna, no, to jest obleśny early access, który został wydany. Tak, na 100 jest, mogę to powiedzieć wyjątkowo super szczerze, że to było lepsze niż co zrobiła ta konkurencyjna polska firma. To jest dobrym znakiem, znaczy, że Techland tutaj wyciąga wnioski, to jest super. To co, ja mam jeszcze, muszę się jeszcze dobrze bawić pół godziny, więc tak, bo to zakładam, że tutaj jest fajnie.
Wszyscy się świetnie musimy bawić przez pół godziny, bo jest powód do tego.
Czyli wiemy już wszystko. Na czacie super, patrz, czytam jeszcze sobie 97 000 osób. Niesamowite to oglądało.
Ja tam w momencie maksymalnym to nawet chyba około 120 000 widziałem.
Jezu, to ja 130 widziałem przekroczone.
Tak,
Wow, rekord. To jest jeszcze raz
Ja mówię 200.
Tak, bez kozery można powiedzieć nawet i 500 000, ale no dobrze.
Jak się zaokrągli, to i nawet 1 000 000 jest.
Tak, właśnie grunt to jest dobra interpretacja danych.